Good morning and welcome to Small Business Matters, where we talk about all things small business. And of course, we talk about the entrepreneurs, their experience. They make everything go and grow. So today we have a little different twist because we're not only going to talk about an entrepreneur, a very successful business, but also a fledgling charity. Yes. Being corporately responsible is a big deal. So without further ado, I present to you Yolanda Carvajal.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Excellent. Thanks for being here. Before we talk about South Florida Rehab, I wanted to talk about you a little bit because, as I always like to say, people do business with people.
That's right.
Not with companies. So tell me a little bit about yourself. If you're from South Florida, if you were born somewhere else, and what your growing up was like.
I am from Miami. I was born and raised here. I'm a Jackson baby.
All right. So am I.
Jackson baby. And my family is from Cuba, where my parents are Cuban immigrants, and I have established my life here. I went to St. Brendan's High School, graduated from there.
Okay.
And Miami-Dade. Proud of Miami-Dade. A product of Miami-Dade. And happily married and successful in our business of SFR physical therapy. So my husband and I opened a business, and we've been working there in the South Miami area for over 17 years already.
Okay, and as I understand it, you're in Naranja now too.
Yes. We just opened an office in Naranja, and we're very excited to be in that area. It's a very needed area for physical therapy, and it's a beautiful area. I'm learning a lot. There's a big elderly population there, so we're trying to help the elderly there with physical therapy. It's very needed. So
that's great. What drove you to open this business? What were you and your husband doing before you opened the business?
So my husband is a doctor in physical therapy.
Okay.
I always worked in the health field, in management, in billing, coding, medical records. So I worked in a few places, and we realized that the medical field was shifting, and we wanted to keep our family values alive in the medical field. So my husband and I decided to open our physical therapy office to keep that one-to-one patient quality and care with our patients. So that's the reason. The whole purpose was to keep that alive, and we're working very hard at keeping that alive.
You said some very interesting words. You wanted to preserve those family values.
Amen.
What does that mean?
So my parents, being immigrants, I learned a lot from them. I remember my dad was an accountant, and he had his office in La 8th Street and 11th in Pequeña Habana. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy because I would go there when I was little and walk, around, and he knew everybody in the neighborhood, and I loved it. And every client that came in was a friend and a family member. And I'd say he was the best accountant in Miami. So he taught me a lot. My mom always had an open door for everybody. There were times people couldn't pay. It was a trying time for a lot of immigrants. He said, don't worry about it. And it always came back. So I learned a lot from my parents in giving, in a professional level as well as in a friendship level. And I strive to be that. And so that's why I pursue and continue working hard to continue those values alive for my family and for my friends and for my patients, so that they know it really still is living, that people do care about your health and about family values and kindness, and that's our goal as a physical therapy office.
And besides what you just told me, how else does that translate to your business? The whole family value thing you told me about kindness, etc.
So when a patient comes in with pain, you have to understand that they're very vulnerable, and you need to be kind and let them feel that everything's going to be okay, and give them hope. So that's what we do. And my staff, I make sure that, they know the patients by name, that they remember their faces, that, that they talk to them and they interact with them. and it turns out to become a family. Like it's crazy. I get these patients come in once, and then I get their children and their parents and their cousins, and it becomes a family thing. And then by being that way, you just bring the family environment into your facility, and that's what we've been doing. And I love our place. It's a little treasure.
Yeah, and it seems like business is almost secondary. It's more about, and I even have trouble, an organization like yours calling it a business because, and I realize everybody has to make money, but it sounds like for you guys, the business is secondary and patient care is absolutely number one.
Number one. It always is. I learned I worked in a psychiatry office, and I learned a lot about customer service.
Okay.
And I learned a lot about therapy. And his name is Dr. Hayal. I always say his name because I learned a lot in that office. And everybody has issues, and when a patient comes to you with their pains or whatever the case may be, there's a lot of types of pains, and you have to be open-minded and kind and loving. And sometimes just even giving us just a hug, helps so much. So yes, I learned a lot there, and that has trickled down to our patients. And honesty is another one. Sometimes you could only say we can only go until this point, and what are our options? And so we're very open and communicated with our patients, which I think is very important. And that's what I learned there. That communication is very key. With your patients. So that's what we've been striving, and we strive to do consistently with our new employees. We train them properly in that way, to know them, to talk to them, to help them not only in the therapy part, but also in the mental part, because, with pain, they have frustrations, and you need to know what those frustrations are.
Yeah. It's incredible that you mentioned the whole thing about knowing people's names and stuff like that. So just a quick story about my father, may he rest in peace. He used to be a member of Leon Medical Center. Mm-hmm. And, he got very good treatment there. You don't always hear that. But the thing that used to amaze me was that everybody in that place knew his name, and forget about the pastelitos and the cafecito. That was a nice bonus too, but that amazed me. And that was an organization that, in my opinion, was really dialed 100%. In. He never had to wait long for an appointment. It was impressive.
The Leon family has done a great job. I've gone to their facility a few times, and they're an example of, customer service and how to treat patients. So I was part of La CAC. So I don't know if you remember La CAC.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
With, I don't know if he was still involved with Jorge Maduro. Okay.
So I was part of La CAC, and my mother-in-law worked for La CAC for a while, and she, every time you went in there, everybody knew everybody. Everybody was kind to each other. And it was a great environment. So I believe it's from our heritage.
That's part of it.
And I think I want to keep that alive, our heritage, with my children and my patients. And so I really believe in that. I'm a strong believer in that, as I am a strong believer in giving back. My parents gave back a lot. And so I believe if you receive, it's your responsibility to give back.
Yeah. What makes you different? What makes your organization different? If you could highlight a couple of things that, because I know there are obviously a lot of, physical therapy locations, businesses, however you want to call it, clinics in the area. I think there's a huge need 100%. Because, I have experienced myself. I'm not going to name the organization where, our waiting list is until December or whatever.
So we don't have a waiting list.
Okay. Okay.
So if you call us, we will give you an appointment within 24 hours.
Okay.
Another thing that makes us different from a lot of places is that we accept every insurance in Dade County and Broward County. So even though I don't have a Broward office yet, but I have a lot of patients that come from Broward and Weston to see us.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what makes us different in that aspect. A lot of places don't accept all the insurances, and we do. Another thing, which is our main component, is we give one-to-one therapy. So we're with our patients, and we even have a person in the training area that is with the patient while they're doing their exercises. So we just don't give you something to do and just, leave you onto the side. One of the things we strive in is, I believe in the latest things that are going on in physical therapy. So a lot of our staff is trained in the latest manual therapies. When we started, I was actually the second person to have an Ultra G machine, which is
what is that?
It's an anti-gravity machine that NASA invented for training purposes, and it turned out to be one of these machines that was great for orthopedic surgeries, especially for lower extremities. So it's like, imagine pool therapy, but in a treadmill, and that lifts you up in air. So it was crazy.
That is so cool. I'd like to try that just for fun.
Yeah, come over and I'll put you in it. It's really fun, and they put you in a short. There's these special shorts that they put you, and then it weighs you, and then it puts the amount of air, and you're able. So people that have knee surgery could start walking a little bit quicker, even though they have the knee surgery, because there's not that big impact. Right. Yeah. So,
that is so cool. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah. So we were the second ones
here in the area.
Yeah. To have it, yeah.
Incredible. So talk to me about who, for example, I have a chiropractor friend and client that says he treats people from womb to tomb. So what age ranges do you?
So we start from age 9 and up.
Okay.
We're specifically orthopedics. We specialize in 2 types of regular sports therapy, of course, orthopedics therapy, but we also specialize in TMJ. So we work with a lot of dentists around the area. So when a patient is trying to have some oral surgery and they cannot open their mouth properly, we help with that type of therapy. We also worked with some ENT groups.
Okay.
So people that suffer from dizziness. We also help with that. So those are 2 of our specialties in our facility as well, besides the orthopedic. When we started with sports therapy. My husband specialized in baseball players, especially shoulders. He's an amazing shoulder therapist. He's amazing at every type of therapy, but I mean, he was a former pitcher in college, and he knows a lot about the shoulder. So that was his specialty. Just a quick note, actually 3 of his patients that we had them when they were very young, they are pitchers, just got drafted to the major leagues.
Wow.
So it's kind of crazy. So he's really good at it. I'm very proud of my husband. And so we started with sports, and then we have gradually done every sports. We specialize in running, triathletes, lacrosse, football. So the range is endless now, and now after COVID, we entered the geriatric world, which is the elderly world.
Right.
And so we are specializing in that as well, and we've been very successful in that. It's actually so rewarding. I love the elderly population.
Yep.
You learn so much from them.
They're the wise ones for sure.
Yeah, you learn so much from them, and it's incredible. They come in thinking they're not going to be able to start moving, and physical therapy is such a key to the elderly, to help them and improve their movement. When you improve movement on the elderly, I mean, it's like a new world is opened. Like life is starting again, and it's a great thing to see that. And we've been fortunate to see that with our patients lately. So I'm very happy about that.
What should a geriatric person do outside of physical therapy? What are some things they can do to start helping their mobility? Stuff they can do at home, for example.
So moving.
Moving.
You cannot sit.
Somebody said, I'm sorry for interrupting, that sitting is the new smoking.
It is. Sitting is the new smoking, and staying in bed too long. If you have to start observing yourself. As I am 51 years old.
Okay.
I'm not the same as I was at 41, right? So we have to be observant of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So if we move better in the morning, then you should get your exercise in the morning, you know? Start moving in the morning. Where you have the time that you have the most energy, you should use it at its best. That's why you see so many elderly. I got to get out early in the morning.
Yeah.
Because that's when they want to move. That's when they have their energy. And that's when they perform the best. So in our office, we see mostly the elderly in the morning. And in the afternoon, we see the younger population.
Yeah. You know, I think it's funny that you said that about knowing your limitations and things like that. Yeah. But and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think men are more hard-headed. Where, I mean, sometimes I think I'm still 18 and I'm, you know, doing things I really shouldn't be doing, and getting hurt, but okay, no comment. I got you.
I'm a married woman, and I tell my husband so many things. You can't eat this, and you can't, and he's looking at me. You know, it's marriage life. It's perfect that way.
Yeah. So when you talked about the sports side, and that's that's fascinating to me. I watch.
It's a lot of fun.
I watch every kind of sport you can imagine.
It's a lot of fun.
But is it training for injury or other type of training too?
That's a good question. So I have a son that plays baseball, right?
Okay.
So of course we're in this industry. It's hard for your children to listen to each other. So the goal is when you're playing a sport is prevent. And physical therapy could help with that. So a lot of times when sports now is year-round, like baseball is year-round. Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. So you have to, again, listen to your body. And if you're tight, you should go to a therapist, a physical therapist, and say, I'm tight on my shoulder. We could teach you stretching. We could teach you what exercise you should be doing. We could find out which muscles are getting weak. Because overuse, it doesn't only, people think, oh, you're going to build, but it also, could strain or like get tight and cause an injury. So you need to know how to stretch properly. One of the keys that we all teach every kid, especially in Florida, hydration is key.
Yeah.
Hydrate before, during, and after. So it's very important that if you feel something is wrong before you get injured, you should go visit a physical therapist and say, hey, I am tight. I don't have the same range. I'm not as fast as I used to be. Why? And sometimes it's just tight hips, or maybe you're disaligned, or simple, like little things that we could help you fix that can make such a difference.
Yeah, this has been enlightening for me because I do none of that. If I feel tight, I'm going to work it anyway. And
you keep at it. Yeah, I know.
This is great. Tell me how, like what sports injuries are you seeing? Because I hear that there are a lot of pickleball injuries these days.
Pickleball is the new sport. We have a patient, no names, like of course. And they suffer a lot from tennis elbow. And Gabe is always like, you gotta rest. Yeah, sure, yeah, I'm gonna rest, and back again. And I'm like, what are you gonna do, It's a sport, it's what makes you happy, you know? So you're gonna do what makes you happy. We could always advise, but we'll always work through it and say, hey, maybe, a few days off.
Right.
So what we see with pickleball is the elbow. But the elbow mostly. And they're like head-on strong when it comes to that sport.
What about other injuries specific to sports? Okay, you mentioned baseball. So, is that mostly shoulder, football, basketball? What?
So, I mean, it's year-round nowadays. So I would say pitchers are always shoulders, elbows. Mm-hmm. We've come very far when it comes to therapy and surgeries, types of surgeries. I don't know too much about them, but it's come a long way.
Yeah.
In the past, it was the elbows with the pitchers. And a lot of times, one of the best things my husband does is, because he was a former pitcher, he teaches about pitching mechanics, like, how to throw properly. And, so a lot of times when you play year round, you lose your performance, your flow, kind of like your flow, right? The way you're supposed to do it. So physical therapists, like my husband, we try to say, okay, you're doing this movement wrong, or you're doing this wrong. Let's strengthen this part, and then we get you back to your body mechanics, work back on those body mechanics correctly. Football players, wow, I think that's the whole entire body.
Yeah.
Knees. Basketball players, it's interesting. I would say knees too, but overall, I think they run so much like soccer players and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just issues like I have had finger issues with basketball players and feet, but nothing knees mostly. But overall, it's just wear and tear, and one thing goes wrong and that's it. But it's really wear and tear. Nobody realizes how difficult it is to get there. It's very difficult, and once you get there, maintaining it is even harder.
Yeah.
And you have to be even more aware of your body at that time and prevent injury even more to stay there. So the ethics of a professional is in that field is extraordinary. I learned so much from them, working with them, and how hard it is for them. So I have a sympathy for them to a certain degree, because it's very hard when you see them get to the majors. You're like super excited, but that's where the work really starts.
Right. And it's the world of professional athletes, to me, is relatively speaking incredible high pressure, because you always have to perform year after year, because they're drafting somebody else that could fill your shoes. Yep, competition. Yeah. And so, I mean, to me, the model of taking care of the body is Tom Brady. Tom Brady 100%. Lasted until he was 45 years old playing football. That's crazy. That's just at a very high level. And I know he's written a book about it, and that's just almost inhuman. LeBron James is another one.
Another one, yes.
That's been playing in the NBA since he was 19 years old.
So having professionals, the mental aspect of it is very important too. And our therapists, most of them are our students, and a lot of them are former athletes from college or high school or whatever. There has to be some type of understanding when you are dealing with an athlete, because there is that mental aspect of it. A lot of kids are trying to get a scholarship, and that's their only avenue, and you really have to be very compassionate and understanding at that time what they're going through, because they're really depending on that to get there. And I think it's very important as a therapist, a physical therapist, if you're dealing with athletes, to have that understanding.
Yeah. Again, the pressure, and another thing I've heard is that those overuse injuries are coming at a much earlier age 100%. than before, because of the whole thing year round, and
you play one sport. That's the other one.
And you play one sport now. That's right.
Before you used to play 2 or 3 sports.
Yes. So is that how it is now? You're
only one sport. A lot of them just play one sport. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, it's what they love to do, and if that's what makes them happy, you just have to support them. As a parent that has a child that plays baseball, you just have to support them and guide them and be their advocate. Taking care of them.
Switching gears right now about your charity.
Yes.
It's a labor of love. Can you give me a little bit of, before we talk about the charity itself, a little bit of background, how it started, why it started?
So,
what's the name of it, first of all?
It's Beeliver.
Okay.
So it's spelled B-E-E like a bee, because I'm a strong believer of the bee.
Okay.
And then it's B-E-E liver, L-I-V-E-R.
Okay.
So it's unfortunately it started because of a loss in my family.
Okay.
My godmother passes away from liver cancer many years ago. And I always said if I opened a business, I would do something in her memory.
I take it you were very close to your godmother.
I was. I always said when my mom passed away, she was going to be my mom and take care of care of me, be that person. But she died before my mom, so it was very heartbreaking for me. I don't want to cry, but
it's okay if you do.
Anyways, so there was, when she got diagnosed,
How long ago was this?
It's like 10 years ago.
Okay.
When she got diagnosed, Actually, no, it's not 10 years ago. It's more than that.
Okay.
It's 18 years ago.
Okay.
So when she got diagnosed, there's really nothing to do. So I was like,
nothing to do, meaning
nothing.
There was no treatment, nothing.
Right. Chemotherapy.
Right.
Usually what happens with liver cancer is detected very, late in the late stages. So the time you have for treatment is very limited. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Got it. And back then, I'm sure there wasn't.
Just to diagnose it back then was really hard.
Okay.
It took forever for her to get diagnosed.
Wow.
So she passes away, and I said I was going to do something. And life keeps moving on.
Life happens.
Started a family, and I left from, leaving it in the back burner. And all of a sudden, my father gets lymphoma, and he has 8 great years with a doctor, Dr. Lusky, and prolongs his life. He got non-Hodgkin's when he finally got diagnosed. He was in the last stages, and he survived 8 years, healthy 8 years after that with Dr. Lusky. Miracle. Yeah, he was a miracle. And so, unfortunately, he doesn't pass away from that. He passes away from liver cancer because eventually it went to the liver. So we knew the diagnosis, and Dr. Lusky did everything possible to save Daddy. He loved my father very much and did everything possible to save him. And unfortunately, Daddy passes away. I said, wow, again, liver. I don't understand. Got a little bit frustrated with my, why liver? And anyways, keep moving forward. COVID hits. Mommy gets sick out of nowhere. And I don't know if it was, my mom had rheumatoid arthritis. I don't know if it was the rheumatoid arthritis or what. I don't know really the details to this day. And she gets cirrhosis. So
again, the liver.
Liver, again.
I'm so sorry to hear this.
Yeah, and she passes away. And it was during COVID, and it was really traumatizing. And I said, God, I know there's a reason for this, and I know there's a purpose. I know you're going to give me an answer why my mom passes away. I know there's a purpose for this. Literally a month later, my father-in-law gets diagnosed with liver cancer.
Wow.
So
if you wanted a sign, I guess
I got the sign.
That was the 2x4.
Yeah. And again, it was going around in circles with the liver. And I said, me and my husband and my brother-in-law, we got to work. We met wonderful people along the way, gave us great advice. And we ended up sending my father-in-law to Sylvester Cancer Center.
Okay.
And we got hope. We met Dr. Livingston. He's a surgeon, and he performed this surgery. He's been cancer-free for 3 years.
Wow.
So 1 year with treatment, and then 2 years after that, cancer-free. But he gave us the hope that we needed. Sylvester Cancer Center gave us the hope that we were looking for. And out of gratitude, I wanted to do something. And so I called the University of Miami Sylvester Cancer Center and say, hey, I want to donate some money. And then they said, oh, well, we need to meet you. And I said, well, specifically, I want it to be for liver.
Right.
And they go, liver? And then you go, yeah, liver. And then they came by. I met Allison. She manages the donations and that department. And so she came by, goes, why liver? And I explained to her the story. And she says, wow, not too many people donate to liver. Actually, you're the first. I go, really? What else? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have never thought that. And so I threw a party at my office, and we gathered, I think the number was $11,000 just by having a party, a little get together. And my patients were amazing. They all donated. So thank you so much to all our patients. When
did this start?
January 27 of 2021.
Okay.
No, 2022.
Okay.
2022. And so they couldn't believe it. Allison said, oh my God, I can't believe you collected all this money. I go, I hope it goes to a good cause. And then I had another meeting with them, and they asked me if I wanted to open a foundation. And so I said, sure, why not? I would love to do this. And I spoke to my husband about it. And when we spoke, and he says, I think this is our thing. I think this is what we need to do. And so we did. And I thought it was going to take a while for it to get approved because, you know, it's a foundation and it has a few protocols and stuff that they have to go. I got approved immediately. So
your 501c3 status,
immediately. Took a month.
Not so easy. That's a record. A month is very fast.
So my CPA applied for in May. I got approved in July.
Wow. So
out of, you know, celebrating, I believe when God gives you something, you have to celebrate.
Sure.
So I'm a strong believer of celebrating good things. And so I threw another little party at the office and we collected another 5. And I said, okay, so we'll have one event once a year. And our events will be in September. It looks like it's going to be in September. And the next event is this month on the 27th.
Tell us about the event.
So it's at the Biltmore.
Okay.
This time we decided, because it's a formal foundation, I decided to do it at the Biltmore instead of my office. I'm learning a lot. I'm still in the process of learning how a foundation works.
Right.
So we're having a cocktail hour.
Okay.
From 6 to 9. And we're going to have a silent auction.
Okay.
And a lot of our patients have helped us in this process. And it's going to be great. I had a meeting yesterday with Allison, and she's very excited. We're going to have one of the doctors of the liver research department coming in and speaking from the University of Mass. I don't know which doctor.
Is it a sit down or?
No, it's just a cocktail.
Okay.
She's going to come and speak about what they're doing right now at Sylvester. The head of that department is Dr. Jones. She's not going to be able to come this time. She's going to a conference in, I believe, San Francisco, she told me. So she won't be able to attend, but she's always attended. But one of her partners is going to be speaking on her behalf. So I'm very excited about that. And then we will be having a silent auction and a drawing, and we're going to be together and enjoying and learning more. Mm-hmm. And our goal is to raise another $5,000.
And what date is it?
September 27th.
Which is that a Friday?
It is a Friday. It is a Friday. So great for a happy hour.
Yeah. Viernes social.
Viernes social, sí.
And if somebody wants to attend, or if somebody can't attend but wants to donate to this great cause, what should they do?
So I have Instagram. You could go onto my Instagram. My information is on Instagram. It's B, like BEE, right. Dot liver underscore.
Okay.
Or you could also go to our website, which is Beeliver.net.
Okay.
You could also call SFR, the physical therapy, or my physical therapy office.
What's the number?
305-905-4188.
Okay. Believe it or not, we're out of time, Yolanda.
Oh my God, that was quick.
Yeah. So, we'll have you back definitely at some point. And thanks so much for being here.
Can I say one more thing?
Of course you can.
I want to thank everybody that has helped me in this process, especially you. Thank you for this moment. I really appreciate it. And there has been so many small businesses that have donated gift certificates and dance classes and yoga classes and so many things. And I really want to thank them all for helping me in this journey that my husband and I are taking for our foundation. I really want people to have hope when they get a diagnosis like this. So I really appreciate all the help you guys have given me.
Excellent. Great last words.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on Small Business Matters soon. As always, thank you to Community News for this forum. We'll see you next time.